All right, so welcome. Oh Jesus, I'm pulling it with the microphone. This is Calum. He's going to be my model today. We're trying out a new thing. You know, I got an iPad for my birthday. This is on the iPad. So if you're thinking, Jesus, she's very clear, that's why. And we've put the board and Calum in such a position that hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing and see Calum from the viewpoint that I'm seeing him as well. And you can see that the board is quite close, so we're hoping that that'll work for you to be able to see the brush strokes too. No, you wouldn't really want to see the kind of contraption that's set up here, and it's likely that we'll be interrupted by Maisie and possibly Erin. But let's do our best anyway. So, okay, so this is Calum's first time modelling. Well done, Calum. You're doing very well so far. No pressure. Okay. Maybe I'll just show you what is. I shouldn't do that, should I? After setting everything up. There's my palette there, stuck on the easel, and I've got water and brushes. I just like to remind everybody, you know, before you go to paint, to have everything within easy reach. I think that's okay. I think it's still kind of the viewpoint.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, and then settle the door so it's stuck on the door frame. Yeah. All right, Erin, you can tell me if the marks I'm making aren't seen, because I'm behind the camera here. Yeah, so that's ideal, Calum. That's great viewpoint. It's good if you can have one. I'm speaking to them now. It's good if you can have like one direct source of light. Yeah, okay. So what I'm aiming to do first is to explain the shadows that run along here, and then to find really what I want to do is to explain the 3/4 view and what to select from this side that'll make the 3/4 view read convincingly. So I'm going to start with you see that there, some yellow ochre I think will work just as a way of. I'm not going to be too focused on colour. This is more about finding the position of the features through looking at the angles of things like the eyebrows, the chin. So already I'm finding the position of the chin here, and the shadows that run up along the temple. And Calum, you know, if you feel like you need to move or anything, just say it's fine. But try not to. I know, it's alright if you laugh and stuff. Okay, so finding the position of the shadow that runs alongside the side of the face here. So that's explaining the side plane of the face, because it's not catching the light which is coming from the window here. So already we've got a kind of a three-dimensional feel beginning. And then the back of the neck will also be in shadow a little bit. And if I were to continue the back of the neck up here, it would run behind. It would kind of cut through the temple shadow there a little bit. So I'm happy enough with the position of that. Now, I said this was yellow ochre, and my brush and my palette were a little bit dirty, so it's actually worked out that it's kind of a darker, murkier yellow ochre, which works for the shadow. There. Now there's a shadow that comes down here too. I'm just finding my way in. She's okay, Erin. You can let her run about, but just don't let her eat the cat food. Now I'm going to move to Jackson's orange, which looks like that. Erin, you can be the one who lets me see whether or not everything is in camera. Erin is currently crawling underneath us. Honest to God. Okay, but I'm quite happy with how this is going. You see, it's really quite professional looking until you hear Erin trying to get Maisie to do stuff. Erin Devine. And I also recognise that I can't really see the top of Calum's head there, so I'm just going to move it up a little bit. I need to see the head more than the body here, I reckon. Okay, so that was the Jackson's orange I used at the front of the neck where the light is falling on the skin. It's kind of good to use. Okay. Is Erin outside? Is she trying to make you laugh? No. Well, Erin's going to get like half pay the next time. Erin, stop it!
I'm not. She was in the toilet.
Okay. Right, now I'm going on to the face, so everyone needs to be quiet. Alright, actually what I'm going to do first, I love that grey top that you're wearing, Calum. I'm going to mix a little bit of ultramarine blue into the colour I was using. So I'm mixing the ultramarine blue into the yellow ochre and orange, Jackson's orange, and I've used that colour to describe the shoulder. Now I'm closing one eye and finding where the shoulder would enter and exit the neck. So as it comes out this side, it's Erin. I think Maisie's eating the cat food. So there's oh, for fuck's sake, hurry. So, and she's finished it now. There's the line of the shoulder there. Just put her outside in the garden, Erin. The line of the shoulder on that side. So not every video is going to be like this, okay? There will be, we might put Maisie somewhere else and Erin somewhere else too. Okay, so I'm using the ultramarine blue mixed with the Van Dyke brown now to find the shadow of the back of the head. So all of that carry on was fine, because actually I was just working on the back of the head, on the temple shadows at the back there, and not focusing on anything really clearly here at the front. Gosh, Calum, you're sitting very well. So, you know, there's nothing critically, kind of no angles that were critically needing to be found. I'm just going to catch that drift because I quite like the shadow there. No, let me see. So I've moved down to the 1.5 inch brush. These are the Rosemary and Coal brushes that I got for painting in watercolour. I really love using these flat brushes, so they've made them into a set for me. So if you wanted to get the set of 3 of them, it's the Anya Divine set. It's the series 222, and you can get the 3 of them for 30 quid, whereas they're normally like maybe 11 or 12 pounds each, depending on the size. This is really like a test, isn't it? It's like kind of your first time modelling. Erin's just being a pain in the butt, making faces out the window, and you're still managing to retain this lovely composure. So you're doing very well. You've passed the test, right? So Erin, from now on, can you stop, because I'm going to be doing his eyebrows and things. This is actually for the ear, so I'm using some cadmium red for the back of the ear there, because it's just a little bit warmer. Are you okay, Calum? Mm. Okay, and now I'm going to find the shadow that runs down the side of the nose there. So using back to a little bit of the yellow ochre into the cadmium red and the colour that was the hair, gives me something that's quite similar again to the colour that I used on the side of the face here. I'm going to bring it across and find the bottom of the nose. There we are. And the eyebrow is above the top of the ear, and it's about that wide. I love these brushes because you can print an edge. Do you see how I could print the eyebrow there simply with just one move, and there's an eyebrow? And then the other one, which is slightly higher than that eyebrow, and it's going to be not quite as long, so I'm going to make a move and let the fluid watercolour fill the space of the wet paper that I've made there to describe the direction of that eyebrow. Now the thing about the 3/4 view is that this area is important here. I find that it's important to locate the position of the nose across the face, and yeah, so I never timed this. Erin, did you time it? Okay, you're timing it from now. It must be about 10 minutes, I'd say, Calum, already. Do you think? You're thinking like 40 minutes. No, so, and that's the cat eating the mozzarella sticks. This is terrible. No one will ever come to eat in this house after watching this video. See, your mum and dad, they won't be coming down, will they? They're gonna get food poisoning in that house. Cats on the worktop and everything. Alright, so what I was talking about there is it's important to find the shape of the skin between the bridge of the nose and the edge of the face. So it's a kind of a triangle, but it's got like the direction of the cheekbone here, which is parallel to the direction of the nose. I used the Jackson's orange again. It's a bit like just like the cadmium orange, really. And I'm gonna just end that line a little bit earlier. There we are. Okay. And I'll find something to describe the position of the eye. And the easiest thing there, I think, is to just use the blue and brown mix again, the Van Dyke brown and the ultramarine blue, in order to make a colour that will read dark enough to describe the iris. Don't really want it connecting with the shadow, with the skin below. So I'm not going to bring it fully all the way down there, just let it sit there for now, that's okay. Really what I want to do is just find the line where the eyelid, the eyelash, where the eyelash line meets the skin of the eye socket above it. So that was what I was wanting to kind of avoid happening, was the dark colour to run into the light of the cheek. But it's good to, as a troubleshooting thing, the first thing I would do there, if that happens, yeah, is to just print it off. It means that you take some colour out of the cheek, but it's okay, isn't it? I mean, it's the main thing really is that the eye is sitting at the right angle, and it's creating that kind of triangle of skin between the eyebrow and the eyelid. So that's what I would look out for, the triangle of skin between the eyebrow and the eyelid. Now, just looking at the eyebrow, recognize that actually the brow is further out than the cheekbone is here. So I made it a little bit longer, and it makes me think that I could shave a little bit off the other side, so the inner corner of the eyebrow could have less here. So just using a clean damp brush to lift off that side. There we go. And now we're using, yeah, but the eyebrow on this side needs to come across a little bit more because the space of skin between the two isn't that wide. So bring it across a little bit more there. And now I want to move down so that I don't get too fixated in any one area. And I'm standing back often as well, like really leaning back, even just to lean away from the easel is really helpful at this stage. And what I want to find next, I think, is the position of the line dividing the lips. Yeah, the position of the line dividing the lips, because that's going to be a clear landscape location between the bottom of the nose and the chin. Erin, will you time me for another 10 minutes? That's okay, Calum.
11 minutes.
I have 11 minutes left, have I? Yeah. Oh, very good. I'm not sure if that's...
there's a fire in it.
Oh, no.
Oh, stop. It's desperate, isn't it? Summertime in Scotland. Okay, so the line dividing the lips is the kind of anchor between the nose and the chin. And I'm going to use the 1-inch brush here to push up the colour. So I've used put some cadmium red into that skin colour, so cadmium red into the yellow ochre, in order to find the line of the lips, and then push up to fill the space of the upper lip, which is generally more in shadow than the lower lip. The lower lip tends to catch the light a little bit more, so I'm just going with that this time. And really what I mainly want to do is to find the trajectory of the lips. I think the line is going in general in that direction, and I want to make a colour now that will represent the shadow on the skin again. So I don't want it to read as lip colour, so I'm putting green in, sap green in, to take the colour out of it. Sap green is going in, and that's going to allow me to find the skin where it comes up to meet the light falling on the upper surface, on the lower lip. Yeah, the light that's falling on the lower lip, which you probably think there isn't light falling on that lower lip, but it helps me to feel like that's what's happening. And actually the overlip does overlap the skin below it a little bit, so it will cause a little bit of a shadow there. There we are. And now I want to do something to describe the eye on this side as well. She's Calum here, incredibly composed given the circumstances. Okay, so the line of the eyelid on this side actually runs in the same direction as the eyebrow on that side. If I was to continue the eyelash line here, with one eye closed, I can see that it's just slightly below actually the eyelid, the eyebrow on that side. Honest to God. Okay, and now I want to sit with my eyes half closed, just find the side plane of the face again by finding the arch where the eyebrow stops going one way and starts going the other way. So that's this bit here. And with the same dark, I might as well inject a little bit more depth of tone into the line dividing the lips there, just to kind of clarify that a little bit more for myself. And now why not do some hair? Okay. So standing back always gives you a bit of a kind of a feeling of freedom and a desire to do something a little bit more loose and lively again, you know, rather than feel that you're getting too caught up in the jigs and the reels. Yeah. I'm not sure, Calum, if you've got that much of a quiff. Don't look. I'm just gonna. But what I love about these big brushes, so this is the 2-inch brush that made that move in the hair there, and what I love about it is that it just really has a confident sweep. There's no messing around. And what you can do is if it goes too far, you can always just print it off then afterwards, and it loses none of the energy of the move, but it just kind of brings it back in a little. Whereas if you carefully paint up to an edge like that, it kind of stems the flow a little bit, I reckon. Now, and a little bit of the... Erin, how are we for time?
7 minutes, 7.
Okay.
7.5 minutes.
Now that eyebrow's loaded, so I'm going to just catch it. I'll just use the paper towel itself to catch that eyebrow. Don't want that drip going straight down the face, because what I'm aiming to do is to capture the 3-dimensional feel of the face. You might notice that I'm changing the brush sizes regularly, and that's something that I'd recommend you do as well. You want above all things really to keep yourself lively. You don't want to feel like you're getting stuck in a rut or being complacent in any way, and changing the brush size all the way through the painting process will mean that you'll keep yourself on your toes, and well, that's one way of doing that. And also it just makes for a more interesting surface on your painting. You'll have different marks if you've got different brushes. Alright, and of course it's important too to allow parts to dry before going into them again. I'm just going to work on the other eye. Lily, Erin, back in cat food. She's just getting there before you.
No.
Mm-hmm. That's a sound that's very familiar in this house now, that plastic on worktop sound of Maisie getting as much as she can out of the cat food bowl before she's caught. No wonder she's got diarrhea. Sorry. God, I think I definitely need to get that editing package. She doesn't often. She's okay, like she's not sick or anything. Dear God. Okay, Calum, you can have a little rest there and just have a laugh for a wee while, because I'm going to now make a colour that's going to represent the dark of the back of the head. A bit more of that ultramarine blue and a Van Dyke brown. And here's Lily coming, just right. So the back of the head is back a little bit further than I had it. Lily, I'm doing a video here. I'm doing the back of the head with the blue and brown mix. It was Lily's 14th birthday the other day. Let's see. And it wasn't a bad birthday, Lily, was it, for lockdown?
No.
We still had a good time, like. Alright, so I think that's okay. I mean, I feel like I'd need to be a hairdresser to capture fully the glory of this head of hair. I'm doing my best, Calum. It just nicely falls into place in your head, but maybe not so much in the painting. It's okay, actually. It's okay. What was that, Erin? Okay. Right, so a couple of things before I finish. How long have I got now, Erin?
5 minutes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, good. Alright, so there's a triangle of skin on the other side of the face here, between the underside of the nose, the edge of the face, and this bit, the philtrum, you know, where the mouth extends forward a little, and you've got the shadow in here, that's called the philtrum. So that triangle there is really helpful to find. And there's another tiny triangle I'm just noticing that's here that'll help to describe the edge of the lip as it extends out that way too. And then of course you've got the shadow that's under there. I think I would also make this a little bit darker to meet the light that's on the bridge of the nose. You doing okay, Calum? Okay. And to meet the light that's on the upper surface of the lower lid. I'm going to make it a bit darker though, I don't want it to read as such a warmish tone there, because these really are eyelashes on the lower lid. And as I look at the lower lid there, it's got a nice warmth to it, so I'm putting some alizarin crimson and cadmium red together. You know, the thing about the eye is that if you can find colour if you can find sometimes fairly bright colours within the landscape around the eye, you can make it read as being, it's a way of differentiating parts of the eye from other parts of the eye in a way that's kind of exciting. You know, it's like it makes it a bit more it makes it a bit more of an interesting and more unique exercise, rather than to be just kind of thinking an eye is in the midst of skin, so it's going to be skin, you know, whatever the skin colour is, and then the colour of the eye. No, I would really be curious and see if you can find even things like, for example, it looks to me like there's almost like a purplish sheen to the white of the eye on this side, so I'm going to fill that in there with that kind of purplish tone, and the same tone as here as well. All the time remembering too to stand back regularly and don't be kind of taking anything for granted. Keep an eye on the bigger picture as well. Now I'm going to use some because by the same token around the face too, you'll find areas of colour that surprise you. It looks to me like there could be a little touch of lemon yellow around here. And of course it's helpful to have more than one tub of water, so that you've got clean water out of reach of your animals. Erin, would you mind getting me some clean water just for the last couple of minutes, please? And it's really helpful if your children will do stuff for you, like without making a big deal of it, like Erin is right now. There we are. Or if you don't have children, you know, find someone in your locality who'll. Right, I'm going to stop talking nonsense there a bit. Thanks, Erin. Gee, Chris, did you see that it's a broken glass?
Yeah. It was already... Mummy, you do not need to show it.
Honest to God.
It was already cold.
Right, Maisie's eating the shoes now. Okay. Okay, so in the final minute, what am I going to do? I'm going to go back over what I've done and explain, when you go to paint someone from the side, from the 3/4 view, that wasn't very easy to see you there. When you go to paint someone from the 3/4 view, Erin, will you please get Maisie?
Maisie, look.
You want to look at the changes in direction down the side of the face. So here we go now. There's a cadmium orange on the brush here to describe the slant inwards towards the eyelid. And I would deepen the tone of the upper lashes to make it. I want to make it slightly darker there, because that's a significant edge to find. The direction that the top of the iris is going in towards where it meets the bridge of the nose, and then it'll go that way. Yeah, something like that. Actually, that same dark could be adopted here too, couldn't it? And then a touch even on the eyebrow, and then this eyebrow could be a little bit darker. Holding the brush this way allows the colour to flow a bit more freely down the way. And I'll do the same on this eye. I want to find the dark of the upper eyelash a little bit more clearly on both sides, and by doing that, you look at the shape of the skin between the two, and you can also kind of create the pendulum of the pupil hanging down from that dark, which gives a little bit more detail to the eyes again. And as I've got something dark on the brush, I'm going to just use a tiny bit of that. I don't want it too dark, but I do want to explain that there's the upper surface of the lower lid before we get to the iris. And remembering all the time, of course, to breathe, Calum and me, so we don't fall off our stats. There we are. And then there's going to be the turn of the nose, which is really helped by this triangle here, this triangle too here, and remembering that the line of the nose here often runs parallel to the line at the top of the cheekbone there. But what I want to do is, with this dark, I'm going to re-establish the shadow. Is Maisie in the kitchen on her own now? And then it's Maisie, and then I'm going to put the nostril in, the dark of the nostril there. And finally, so with your mouth closed, Calum, I'm going to do just the line dividing the lips again in the same kind of a dark colour, maybe a little bit warm. Oh, so that's time up. But can I just keep going for a tiny bit more till I get to the chin, Calum? Okay. So there we are. I put some cadmium red into the dark there because I wanted to have a dark a tone as was up here, but to have a slightly different quality to it, so that it has a feeling of it being the colour of the lips rather than colour of the skin. Okay, and then down to the underside of the chin, which can be anchored down with a little bit more dark as well. And I would give more time in another day when we're working on ears. I would go and explain the ear with the similar. I'm just going to go over here. Okay, I would explain the ear with a similar kind of. Erin, could you get her? With a similar. Oh, she's okay. Depth of tone, sorry, as the darks and lights in the eyes, nose, and mouth there. But hasn't he done? Calum, you can rest now. Hasn't he done brilliantly? That's his first time sitting, and honest to God, it was like a circus around here. It was like a circus. But what I was saying there is, you see, there's a gap in the space where the ear is, and even the hair above, as it comes in towards the temple. I might just do that before we stop the video, Calum. Could I just do that? Because it seems like all of that reads as skin, and I want it to read more as hair and then skin, because the skin on the temple needs to be slightly darker than the skin, than the hair here. So that just helps to distinguish the hair from. I don't want to fill it all in, but just because it is nicely shaved. You did your own hair, didn't you, Calum? It was yourself that shaved it, was it? Yeah, good job. Could maybe do a YouTube video on that. How to shave your own hair in lockdown. Okay, now I really feel like I've got ants in my pants because I want to do that ear, but this is gonna, it's really good actually for all of us. It's really good to stop when you're 80% done, or stop when you're still wanting more, you know, a bit like food. If you stop when you're 80% full, they say that's much better for you. And Calum, thanks very much for sitting. You're great. Okay, tune in next time. I don't know what'll happen the next time, but have a look at the links below. This is Anya Divine. I do workshops and different things. And Calum, what's your surname? What? Curtis. Oh yeah, Calum Curtis, our model. Well done, Calum. All the best.